If everybody will start making their way to their seat, we'll get started on time tonight. If everybody will start finding their seat, we'll get started. If everybody will find their seat, we'll get started. I know this is a hard group because everybody knows everybody. So good evening. I'm Jill Vaughn. I'm the Smith-Hudson Endowed Chair of Banking Chair, and I want to welcome you tonight to Sam Houston State University. This is our 13th annual Texas Bankers Hall of Fame, honoring our 2026 recipients. On behalf of Sam Houston State University and the Smith-Hudson Endowed Chair of Banking, it is my privilege to welcome our honorees, their families, distinguished guests, and all of you joining us this evening. The Texas Bankers Hall of Fame was actually established in 2013 to recognize those who have not only excelled in banking, but have helped shape and strengthen our industries across Texas. These are leaders who have truly pioneered the profession. As community and regional bankers, they have transformed towns, cities, and lives. We know strong banks are the foundation of strong communities, providing access to capital, fueling growth, and creating opportunity. The individuals that we honor tonight, and those also recognized in year past, are the heartbeat of that impact. Their leadership, service, and commitment have left a lasting legacy, not only within their communities and their banking industries, but the entire industry. At this time, this is really a fun part of the program in order to recognize our prior Texas Bankers Hall of Fame honorees who are with us this evening, and we have a large group of those in the house tonight. So as I call your name, will you please stand and be recognized? So the class of 2014, Mr. Rogers Pope Sr. In our 2015 class, we have Scott Deeser. In our 2018 class, we have Gary Blankenship. In our 2019 class, we have Cynthia Blankenship. And also from that class, we have Joe McKinney. From our 2013 class, and also the son of 2020 class, Mr. William Lacey, we have David Lacey with us tonight. In 2020, we have Mr. Vic Pearson with us tonight. In 2023, we have Ron Butler, who's also our TBA chair this year. In 2023, we also have Jim Good right here. From 2024, we have Henry Wu. Also from 2024, we have Vidal Ramirez. From last year's class, we have our Commissioner of the Texas Department of Banking, Charles Cooper. And then also from last year's class, we have Bobby Hawksworth. So I want to thank each of you as you have set the standard for excellence and service in our profession. Now, it's my pleasure to recognize the team of bankers that will be inducted this evening. And so will you stand as I call your name? So Mark M. Johnson. Michael G. O'Rourke. Rogers Pope Jr. A. Ford Sasser III. And Marilyn Shedd. Wow, this is like an athletic event. Congratulations to each of you, and we look forward to celebrating each of you tonight. But before we begin our festivities, allow me to take you back to 1996. At that time, Texas banking faced economic challenges, but where others saw uncertainty, one visionary donor saw opportunity. That vision led to the creation of our Smith-Hudson Endowed Chair of Banking, an investment not just in education, but in the future of our industry. From the beginning, the mission was clear. It wanted to transform potential into leadership and advance education that went far beyond classrooms and textbooks into real-world impact. 30 years later, that vision has grown into a powerful legacy, one that has inspired students, strengthened banking institutions, and helped shape the future of banking across Texas. Many of you in this room are part of that story. And tonight, we're going to celebrate both. We're going to celebrate 30 years of impact and the leaders who continue to define it. So at each one of your table, you have a glass of champagne, and we're going to do a toast. And if you raise your glass with me, here is to 30 years of vision, impact, and opportunity in a story that continues to be written, and then to the exceptional leaders we honor tonight, whose contributions continue to strengthen our industry and the communities they serve. Hear, hear, and cheers. So can we get a round of applause for that? So if you'll join me for the invocation, and then we'll start our meals, and then I will come back up to the podium and we'll start the festivity. But please bow your head as we start the invocation. So we gather here today in a spirit of gratitude and celebration. We thank you for the talents, the dedication, and the hard work of all of those we honor tonight. Bless this gathering with your presence. May this ceremony not only recognize achievements, but inspire us all to continue striving for excellence, integrity, and service. Grant that we celebrate with humility and that we leave here encouraged to use our gifts to lift others and better the world around us. Be with each person here, guide our hearts with joy, our words with kindness, and our lives with purpose. We offer this time and all the good things that come from you. Amen. So please enjoy your meal. I tell the groups each year, this is a working dinner. You know, bankers are accustomed to working dinners. So I'll be back fairly shortly to start the festivities, but please enjoy, and again, welcome to Sam Houston State University.
Welcome to the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame. Celebrating exceptional contributions to banking in Texas. Tonight, we honor Mark M. Johnson, Michael G. O'Rourke, Rogers Pope Jr., A. Ford Sasser III, and Marilyn Shedd. Now, please recognize Smith-Hudson Endowed Chair of Banking and 2018 Texas Bankers Hall of Fame recipient, Jill Sharp Vaughn.
So good evening again, and we're going to get started. We have such a fun and exciting evening, so please again continue to be served throughout the night. What a wonderful night to come together and celebrate these exceptional bankers and their lasting contributions. As you will see throughout the evening, our inductees are true visionaries and trailblazers and leaders who have answered the call to serve and are most deserving of this recognition. Esteemed honorees, once again, we warmly welcome you along with your families and friends to our university. And at this time, I'm going to start recognizing our distinguished guests. So as I call your name, please stand so that we may acknowledge you. So Stephen Lee, who's chairman of the Texas State University System Board of Regents. Karen Party, chair of the Texas Commission of the Arts. David Osborne, Finance Commission of Texas. Our wonderful Sam Houston State University president, Dr. Elisa White, and Elliot Herslick, her husband. Dr. Samant Yanduri, provost and senior vice president of academic affairs. Matt Bethea, Vice President for University Advancement. Retired Major General Dave Glazer, Chief Strategy Officer. Dr. McCartney Johnson, Deputy to the President. Our Dean of the College of Business Administration, Dr. Shar Self. Our former Dean of the College of Business Administration, Dr. Mitchell Musam. Darren Peschel, Senior Vice President in charge of the Houston branch of the Federal Reserve of the Bank of Dallas. Greg Wiesen, Regional Director, Texas Department of Banking. And of course, I've already recognized our commissioner as a prior Hall of Fame recipient as well. Chris Furlow, our President and CEO of the Texas Bankers Association. And then Christopher Williston, President and CEO of Independent Bankers of Texas. Dwight Gary, Executive Director of the Commercial Banking Program at Texas A&M. I knew we could not get through that without at least one whoop. At this time, I'd also like to recognize our Smith-Hudson Advisory Board, if you will please stand. We appreciate all that you do for our program. And then we also have members of our Smith-Hudson EMBA Advisory Council as well. Would those please stand and be recognized? We want to thank our sponsors, they're noted in your program, and those of you that support us year-round through programs and scholarships. Your investment is shaping the future of not only banking, but also academia. To our industry partners, thank you for always leaning in, leading by example, and creating real opportunity for our students through true job degree pathways. We are so proud to partner with you. I'd also like to recognize our incredible administration and faculty, as well as our amazing banking team, Dr. Steve Nenninger, our endowed professor of banking, and our amazing banking staff, program manager Heather Cottle, and student coordinator Jacqueline Coffin. I want to thank all of these for the strong commitment to student success and for helping us to prepare this next generation of banking leaders. You make it all possible. So as we celebrate 30 years, we must honor our Smith-Hudson donor, our donor representative, Robert Hudson and Ryan Hudson, and our founding chair, the late Dr. James Bexley, and retired associate director, Pam Thaler, whose vision built this program from the ground up. Pam, will you stand and let us recognize you? As most of you know, our program's mission is to educate and prepare students to enter into banking and financial services, and we have impacted over 2,200 students through full-time placements and internships. And across Texas, other university programs like ours are strengthening the talent pipeline for the industry. One thing I've always said about our Bearcats, which I'm an alum, I graduated here many moons ago. I'm not going to say what year for my students, but many, many moons ago, which I'm super proud of. But Bearcats are hardworking, resilient, and sticky. I said that for years on the banking side. And in fact, John Klein, that I worked for many years, that was the original, one of the original supporters of our program, he said, Jill, you get up there and you hire every Bearcat you can hire. And we did a 10-year look back just recently of our graduates that we had placed in jobs. 67% of those respondents have remained with their original employer. It's pretty fabulous if you think about it, banking turnover. And then, in celebration of our 30 years, we just did a 30-year look back with those students that we've placed. And 54% of those are still in their original employers, over 30 years. So that says everything about who our Bearcats are. So we appreciate you hiring them and giving them these wonderful opportunities. Finally, our EMBA program completes our program's secondary mission of educating and training existing banking professionals with over 197 graduates, or soon-to-be graduates in 2 weeks, who are working to advance their careers, but really to develop themselves professionally. We're excited to have one of the largest classes this year coming in that we've seen in many years, and they will be on campus this fall for residency, and we're really excited. You will see some of those later on tonight. At this time, I want to ask for any of our Sam Houston alumni that are in the room with us tonight to stand and be recognized. If you will stand and be recognized. I saw a few eat-em-up cats back there. We have to get our time in, because we have A&M, some Baylor, Texas Tech, so we have to kind of get our equal time in here that we're on campus. Our current students, our undergraduate and graduates, will you please stand and let us recognize you? A lot of you met our students tonight. They helped you find your way. We love our students. I told them, I said, do you have to graduate? Because we get so attached. So at this time, I would like to ask Dr. Elisa White, our Sam Houston State University president, to come and join me and share some remarks. So,
we are so happy to have you on campus today. Welcome to SAM. Welcome to Sam Houston. I meet a lot of people from around the country and really internationally, but I will have to say that when I come to this event, I am absolutely starstruck. And a lot of you I've met here and I've met across the state, but I'm just so thrilled with the work that you do to support communities, to support certainly higher education, to support business. I too want to recognize Regent Lee and Chairman of the Texas State University system, but also somebody that you know because he is a well-known banker, of course, in Texas, and we're happy to have him and Jamie as well. You know, the College of Business Administration is at the forefront in banking for sure, but they didn't start just by themselves, and so I want to thank the college and the current and the former administration. I want to thank the chair of banking, current, and all of those who helped make this happen. And our sponsors, thank you for hosting this event. So we're going to be hearing about outstanding bankers who've made lasting impact in the profession. Tonight, we're celebrating people who've done something unusual. And sometimes the unusual is because their activities are unusual. Sometimes the unusual is because they filled the gap for businesses and communities when things were tough, but they didn't stop. They were the ones who gave hope to businesses. They are the ones who gave hope to families. They're the ones who had vision and supported things like the Chamber of Commerce and those entities that keep communities going and thriving. And the strength of the Texas economy has always been shaped by vision and leadership. And here at Sam Houston State University, we want to partner with you, and we know that we can't do that unless you let us in. Our legacy is reflected in our long-standing commitment to business education, dating back to 1923, that first business or bachelor's degree awarded in 1935. In 1996, the Smith-Hudson Endowed Chair of Banking made Sam Houston the first university in Texas to offer a degreed banking program. The first. So some of you who are here, we are delighted that you are successful, and we know that you modeled your program because Dr. Bexley helped you, and that's good for Texas, and so we're happy about that. So 30 years later, Smith-Hudson banking program remains the nation's longest fully accredited undergraduate and graduate banking degrees. The College of Business Administration began working on the financial center and trading floor that is significant because it is the Smith-Hudson Financial Center and Trading Floor. They started working on that over a year ago, and what I love about that is that while Smith-Hudson's been so critical to us in banking, that organization, that foundation, still has vision for the future. The new center will provide students with real-world financial environments using Bloomberg LP software, your industry standard for market analysis. Beginning this fall, students will monitor global markets in real time. They'll analyze trends. They'll gain deeper understanding of the forces shaping our economy. And the good thing is they're going to come to you with more up-to-date and forward-thinking skills. Leadership is measured not just by success, but by service. And as a steward of place, Sam Houston takes that seriously. Our motto is the measure of a life is its service. We prepare law enforcement professionals through innovative pathways like our criminal justice internship track. We are known internationally for our criminal justice program. We had the first PhD in forensic science in the country. We have a fairly new osteopathic medical school. I told you about that about 3 years ago. I just got in today. I've been in Las Vegas at the American Association of Colleges of Osteopathic Medicine. Our medical school students have the highest first-time pass rate on the COMLES exam in the country. And they've had it 3 years in a row, 3 years in a row. They are going to be the doctors in your communities serving your clients. We prepare educators who step into schools across Texas ready to make a difference, ready to serve. And over the past year alone, more than 676 of our teacher candidates were placed in over 250 school systems across the state, again, in your communities. That commitment traces back to our founding in 1879 as a teacher prep institute. So we're evolving, and we know the banking industry is too. So one of the things I wanted to do when I came up here is to tell you about Sam, but I really came to tell you thank you. I know that you're the one who hire our students. You give them internships. You give them a shot. You continue with their learning. You help them to be better, and I appreciate that so much. I'm also grateful that you help our entrepreneurs start new businesses. You help giving financial counseling to people who want to grow a business in your communities. Again, you're filling that gap. You're the ones who are serving and making a difference. So I came up here to show off a little bit, to tell you I'm happy to see you, but also tell you thank you. We need you, our communities need you, and we are grateful to you. At this time, I'd like to welcome back Jill Vaughn.
Thank you, Dr. White, for your comments and your support. She does so much to support our program and has done so much for our university. She came a little bit before. I came after she had been here not too long. And so it's been amazing to watch all the accomplishments, and it makes me super proud as a Bearcat as well. So we're going to start our celebrations and recognize our wonderful inductees tonight. That's what you're here for. So as I call on the presenters, I ask that you come this side of the stage and proceed to the podium to introduce each honoree. And then after that, the honorees will then come through the same side as well to accept your award. So we're going to start left to right. We're going to start with Mark M. Johnson. And I'd like to invite Blair Labatt, President and CEO of Labatt Food Service, to the podium.
Thank you so much. Hello, I'm Blair Labatt. It's my honor to introduce to you my banker, Mark Johnson, as honoree of the Bankers Hall of Fame. Mark began his banking career in 1968 in Houston at Texas Commerce Bank, but he returned to his hometown of San Antonio, and when only 36, he became president and COO of National Bank Shares, NBC, San Antonio's second largest bank. He was a member of the Association of Reserve City Bankers, an honor reserved for the top 400 bankers in the country. During the Texas banking crisis of the 80s, Mark spent years trying to forge a compromise with the regulators who were determined that the Texas banks should be sold or closed. Jody Grant, a member of the Bankers Hall of Fame and author of a good book on this subject, describes Mark Johnson as, quote, one of the unsung banking heroes of the economic and banking crisis of the 1980s. After the regulators did close NBC, Mark joined with Jody Grant in 2000 to found Texas Capital Bank with a business proposition of pursuing commercial business only on a branch-light basis. Mark was president of the San Antonio region, which grew to have assets of over $2 billion. He later became vice chairman and managing director of the bank, with responsibilities for the Austin and Fort Worth regions as well, and with statewide responsibility for the Builders Finance Group and all of commercial real estate banking. Jody Grant, in nominating Mark for this honor, describes Mark as a critical founding member of Texas Capital Bank. After retiring from Texas Capital, Mark served as chairman of Juris Medicus, a firm sourcing medical experts for litigation testimony. Then, in 2023, Mark returned to banking with the Bank of Texas as regional chairman, introducing Bank of Texas, that's BOK Financial, to South Texas and overseeing its Central Texas markets. Bank of Texas is fortunate indeed that Mark felt the call to return to the profession which he loves. I came to know Mark when I experienced him as a relentless and assiduous salesman. In Mark, I met a banker who was completely dedicated to his customers. He also would just not give up. He found many things that a bank could do to help me, and it became clear that our existing bank was really not helping us, and we changed banks after 85 years. As my banker, he has become my valued consultant and friend. Besides being a customer-centric banker, he has also more than taken on the banker's traditional role of civic leader. I counted 16 important nonprofit boards he has served on. To note just a few, he was president of Alamo Area Boy Scouts and received the Silver Beaver Award, was chairman of the Texas Business Hall of Fame, and was chair of Texas Tech Rawls School of Business Advisory Council at his own alma mater, where he was honored with the Distinguished Alumni Award. Presently, he is chair of the Remember the Alamo Foundation, deeply involved in preserving Texas' most sacred site. And I have to mention that as an act of friendship to me, he served with me on the board of Opera San Antonio. And that leaves out the zoo, the YMCA, the Hart Foundation, the United Way, the Stock Show and Rodeo, the Chamber of Commerce, Southwest Research Institute, the Briscoe Western Art Museum, the San Antonio Academy, and San Antonio Can High School. In 2025, Mark was inducted into the San Antonio Business Hall of Fame. Mark is an exemplary community leader, a dedicated banker, and a loyal friend, and a very worthy honoree for the Bankers Hall of Fame. Mark Johnson.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. What a great turnout tonight, and thank you for all of you to be here. I'd like to start by giving a real heartfelt thank you to Blair Labatt for that most gracious introduction. Blair has been a good friend for a long time. And he was just inducted into the San Antonio Business Hall of Fame just in the last month or so. He's a business icon. He runs a multi-billion-dollar company, and that company is one of the largest food distributors in the country. And so thank you, Blair, for everything that you've done for me. More importantly, I appreciate your friendship, and I look forward to many more years of being together. Next, I'd like to congratulate our four honorees. Each of them are most deserving additions to the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame, having made an indelible mark on the Texas banking landscape, and I'm just honored to be included with this talented group. Jill, I'd like to thank you and your staff and your team for putting this whole dinner together tonight. I know people like Heather, who I met, you got an outstanding group, and I also congratulate you on everything you're doing for the banking school and all the programs that are going on. So it's tremendous, and we as bankers appreciate that. There's not enough of that here around the country, not just in Texas, as far as education goes. You know, none of us being inducted this evening would be up here without the steadfast support of our loving family. And I'd like to introduce just a few of them, and I've been totally blessed. But I'd like to start with introducing my family. But first, I'd like to introduce my partner of 58 years, Carolyn, my wife. My son Parker and his wife Victoria are here. They live in Houston, so appreciate Parker, you and Victoria being here as well. I have two brothers, both of them and their wives are here. My brother Clyde and his wife Paula, and then my brother Mike, who happens to be a twin brother, and his wife Tricia. So thank you all both for being here as well. Though only here in spirit this evening, I want to also acknowledge my parents, Dorothy and Clyde Johnson. They were really extraordinary role models for me, and the values that they instilled in me at a very young age helped shape the course of my life. And to my entire family, each of y'all have played a major role, and I thank all of you for what you've done in my journey, and for all that I'm deeply grateful. So thank you. You know, while I'm deeply humbled and honored to join the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame fraternity, this recognition is not so much an individual award to me, but more as a reflection on the decades of collaboration and incredibly a talented group of men and women who I've worked with over the years. Over more than 50 plus years, I've been fortunate to work alongside hundreds, and really more, it's probably thousands, of colleagues, and it is on their behalf that I really gratefully accept this honor. I'm also fortunate to be joined this evening by my colleagues from Bank of Texas, some of whom I've worked with well over 25 years. One in particular that's here tonight is Craig Dixon. We've worked together for 45 years, and I know, Craig, I owe you a lot, and I really appreciate what all you've done. We've got, as every banker would tell you, the best people. But these are truly, the people that we have, I would say, are all first-round draft choices that have, in their own right, have done really, really well. We've worked together a long time, and we've really enjoyed the opportunities that we've been given. So I thank you to the Bank of Texas table, and thank you all for being here tonight, and I appreciate it very much. Throughout my career, I've also had the privilege of being mentored, as most of us have, mentored by some of the true greats in our industry, in the banking industry. And this would include people like Ben Love from Texas Commerce Bank, Richard Calvert, National Bankshares Corporation of Texas, and Jody Grant, who you've already heard his name, founder of Texas Capital Bank. These are banking legends that have left an enduring imprint on our profession, and these principles helped shape me not only as a banker, but as a person. They taught me the right way to build a bank by bringing together the very best talent, then fostering a culture of collaboration and mutual respect, all while focusing on best-in-class businesses and helping them achieve their goals and objectives. We're also, I think, honored tonight to have some students here with us. And some of the banking students I think we have here this evening, I met a few of them earlier tonight. And, you know, that's really our next generation of civic and business leaders in the future of our banking industry. If I were to impart a few words of wisdom on them before I go, I would encourage them to live their lives with honor and integrity, two of the greatest virtues in life, and something that no one can ever take away from you. Good character, confidence, and a positive attitude will serve you well. You should always strive to be the very best you can be and treat everyone with great respect, and you will earn respect in return. Finally, don't be afraid to reach for the stars. I hope you will always remember that the greatest currency in life is effort, which is your work ethic, which you and you alone control. And I wish each of you many great successes in life and hope you will, in turn, give back to your community with a servant's heart. Now, before I close, I want to just take one quick moment to give a special thanks, and that's to my wife, Carolyn. We've been together for 58 years, and I will tell you that she, for those that know her, and I realize most of you in here do not, but for those of you that know her, she's been the shining star in our family, and she's been with me every step of the way, and maybe it's a little old-fashioned, but I don't know how many banquets, luncheons, dinners, meetings that she's attended with me, and she's always done it with a good attitude, and she's never said, no, I can't do it, or I need a new dress, or something. Well, she might have said she needs a new dress. But Carolyn, I want to just tell you thank you. I appreciate it very much. Once again, thank you for this incredible honor and privilege to represent the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. That was really a great tribute to so many different people, and I love what you provided to our students. At this time, I'd like to call prior Texas Bankers Hall of Famers honorees Gary West, who is the chairman and CEO of Bank of the West, and Cynthia Blankenship, who's the vice chairman and corporate president of Bank of the West, to the podium today to introduce Michael O'Rourke.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor and privilege to stand before you tonight to introduce a true business titan in the community banking, Texas world of banking. This is someone whose career spanned more than 4 decades and whose impact will be felt for generations to come. Michael O'Rourke began his career at First City Bank, but then he came over to Texas Independent Bank, the Bankers Bank, in 1984. And he quickly rose through the ranks there. He spent his entire career then building the largest bankers bank in the United States. Michael has unwavering integrity, sharp intellect, and some genuine commitment to putting people first. He has been a trusted advisor during booms and a steady hand during the downturns, a mentor who has shaped the careers of countless young bankers. Many of those young bankers are still at TIB and represent the second generation, the third generation of management. Others are out in the community banks in Texas working today. What began as a dream of a few community bankers in the early 1980s to create a bank providing correspondent services for community banks in the state of Texas has been a huge success under Michael O'Rourke's tutelage. But that vision has been far surpassed as TIB now provides services for banks, not only in Texas, but it has accounts and business relationships in 48 states and serves over 1,300 community banks, with 300 of those being shareholders of the association.
You know, the Bible characterizes leadership as a shepherd who leads, guides, encourages others, and loves their flock. This description influences Michael O'Rourke in his commitments to the employees of TIB every day. Michael truly leads with a servant's heart, putting faith and family first. Michael's story is a story of success. He is joined here tonight by his family, children, and many friends and colleagues. We consider our decades-long friendship with Michael an honor, as well as his family. Please join me and a warm round of applause as we welcome Michael O'Rourke to the stage to receive his well-deserved recognition.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Gary and Cindy, for that special introduction. Gary serves on our board, but Cindy and Gary have been lifelong friends for 40-plus years. Both Gary and Cindy, as you heard earlier, are the only couple to individually have won this award in 2018. I think Gary was 2018 and Cindy 2019. So congratulations again to you both. Before I begin, my wife has instructed me to keep this short. Well, my son told me to speak faster, Dad. So let's go. First, I would like to thank Sam Houston State University, Jill, Jacqueline, and Heather for this evening and for this program. I have so many of our TIB family members here tonight. That includes past and current directors. One is Roger Sr., and so many of the past and current executive team members, and a lot of the TIB family members as well. So if you and your spouses would please stand up and be recognized. To me, this is not an individual award. It's honoring all the TIB and directors who have been associated with the TIB family for the past 42 years. I want to recognize my family, our baby girl, Margaret Ann, our middle child, Mary Catherine, and her boyfriend, Andrew, and Kendra, Michael Collins' wife. And the best thing about those two is that they gave me 2 grandchildren so far. Owen, 3, and Quinn, 1, and Cindy, my wife. You have to admit that right now, Quinny likes me better than you. And that won't last long. Also, I'll talk about Cindy a little bit later, but I'll save the best for last. One other group I'd like to recognize are all the community bankers present. And I know there are many of you here. You know, when you get up on the stage and think about it, you get a little nervous. But before the meeting at the cocktail hour, you know, I saw so many of our great community bankers. And when I look out in the audience, this really is home. This is what it's all about for me. You community bankers are the reason why I am being inducted tonight. You are the folks that have made me so passionate about community banking and have made my life so rewarding. You're the reason why I continue to look forward going to work each and every day. The worst of my banking career came early. I started at TIB in 1984 as the chief lending officer. 2 years later, the Texas banking depression began, and during that time, the Texas banks, only in Texas, failures were 500 from 1986 to 1992. So think about that for a minute. We have 350 banks now in Texas, and we lost 500, or 150 more than we have today. And being at TIB, we were in bank stock lending, and so those were obviously very, very difficult times. However, during that 7-year period, those were some of the best years of my life. It made me truly respect the regulators, especially at that time, the State Department of Banking and the Federal Reserve. TIB became a second family to me, and it made me realize and fully understand how important you, our community bankers are. Our shareholders and customers, which they're all banks, never lost faith in us. And I repeat, they never lost faith in us. By 1992, when life returned to normal, I was a whopping 37 years young, but had the experience of a lifetime. Just like any good marriage, I've been with TIB for 42 years, and I'm proud to say it's been the best 35 years of my banking life. Speaking of marriage, I would not be standing here tonight if it wasn't for my bride, Cindy. We met at TIB in 1984, and for those of y'all who know her, she was in the marketing department, and you know why. So we got married in June of 1986. Well, our first week was going to be our honeymoon in Hawaii, and for those of you who've been to Hawaii, the flight usually gets back at 6 a.m., and we got back at 6 a.m. on Monday morning. So back in the day, you Bearcats, you young Bearcats don't realize this, but back in the day, there were no cell phones, just answering machines. So we got home, we listened to the answering machine. Kevin Drew, my good friend, told me that one of our banks that we had financed failed. And so there was no week 2 of our honeymoon. And that's serious. I got, 6 a.m., I got dressed, went to work, and that was quite the honeymoon, second week honeymoon. From 1986 to 1992, she was not only my wife, but my rock. There was one moment in our TIB life, New Year's Eve, 1989, when I didn't know if TIB would make it. I just really flat didn't know. But thank the good Lord and Kevin Drew, where's Kevin? There he is. It did. Through it all, Cindy was always there. Cindy morphed my personality into one that truly cared and was passionate about our TIB family individually and you, our community bankers. I just can't tell you how much I love our community bankers. I was blessed that she believed in me, encouraged me, and yes, she had to put up with me, which you're a saint, Cindy, as you know. Wrapping it up, which I know is music to Cindy's ears, I'll end with this. One of my favorite Christmas movies is It's a Wonderful Life, starring Jimmy Stewart. To me, this story epitomizes why community bankers are the strongest, let me repeat, the strongest influencers in their communities, and why so many small and large communities in the great state of Texas today still flourish. For me, personally, banking continues to be a wonderful life. Thank you. And God bless.
Thank you, Michael, and congratulations. At this time, I'd like to invite Kelly Pope to the stadium, podium. I heard somebody yelling a while ago. To introduce Rogers Pope Jr.
Good evening. What an honor it is to be here tonight with all of you. So many respected colleagues and dear friends and treasured family members. We are especially grateful to have 4 of our 5 children here with us tonight. As you can see in his bio, my husband is incredibly accomplished in his career and in his service to our community. But rather than talk about what he's done, I'd like to spend my time sharing who he is to his family, and who he is as a friend. When I asked our children to describe their dad/stepdad, they didn't talk about titles or achievements. Instead, they used words like caring, hardworking, and supportive, encouraging, kind, smart, and witty. They described a man who shows up, who listens, and who genuinely cares about the people in his life. They also agreed on one other thing. As one of our sons put it, I challenge any other dad to come up with cornier dad jokes than my dad can. And I will confirm he will not be beat in that category. That sense of humor is something that his friends noticed too. One longtime friend said, "One of the great gifts of a long friendship is truly knowing the person behind the accomplishments. Those of us who know Rogers well know that his success has always been accompanied by a great sense of humor, one that puts people at ease, lightens the room, and reminds us to not take ourselves too seriously." But as his friend went on to say, that humor is paired with qualities that matter even more: integrity, generosity, humility, and a genuine care for others. As his wife, I can tell you that he is the most thoughtful human being I've ever known. He is constantly considering what he can do for those around him, quietly putting others ahead of himself. He serves without needing recognition, and he leads without needing the spotlight. At the core of who Rogers is, there is a steady and deeply rooted faith that guides his decisions and his relationships. It shows up in how he treats people, in the grace with which he handles both success and challenge, and in the consistency with which he lives his values. Those qualities have certainly shaped a successful career as a community banker, but more importantly, they've shaped a meaningful life, one defined by relationships, service, and impact. All of us here tonight are better for having him in our lives, and I am incredibly blessed to walk by his side as his wife and best friend. It is my great privilege to introduce and to join all of you in honoring my favorite person on the planet, my husband, Rogers Pope Jr.
I thought that was a good idea to ask her to do that, and now I don't know how I'm going to get through this. Anything I say is going to let you down from what she said. I'd rather you think of me as that person. But, well, good evening, and I do want to tell you, I want to start off by thanking my beautiful bride for those kind comments. I will tell you, she really didn't want to do that. I had to convince her to do that. She's not a big fan of public speaking. Personally, I think she's great at it, and I truly am honored and humbled that she would do that. So, thank you. Now, I want to tell you that not only did she not want to be up here doing this, I really didn't either. And that is because when I was growing up, I really never considered or dreamt of becoming a banker. And I certainly never dreamt, Jill, of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Well, let me take that back. I did dream about a Hall of Fame, but it was the one in Cooperstown, New York, not in the one in Huntsville, Texas. And I dreamt of going in wearing a Los Angeles Dodgers uniform as opposed to a Texas Bank and Trust lapel pin. But as consolation prizes go, this one's not too bad. Now, like our Master of Ceremonies and fellow Hall of Famer, Jill Vaughn, and Jill, again, thank you and your team so much for this wonderful event and all of y'all have done to make it special. But like Jill, I happen to be a fourth-generation community banker. But I want to tell you that I tried very hard not to be. 40 years ago, when I was in college, and it's already been mentioned what the 80s were like, and when I was in college 40 years ago, I considered everything but banking. I looked at accounting and economics, even financial planning, before deciding to pursue a legal career. But my practice of law lasted less than 3 years when my father came to me and made me an offer that I couldn't refuse to join our family's banking enterprise. And so in some ways I was like Michael Corleone, who in the absolutely terrible Godfather Part 3 famously said, "Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in." That's the best Pacino I can do, sorry. But banking literally is in my blood. And I have to say, since I've got a fifth-generation banker sitting among our family with one of my sons, I'll go ahead and break it to him. You're stuck with this, buddy. So, you know, it is impossible to receive an award like this and not be introspective about your career legacy. And truth be told, as I reflect upon my decades in banking, I wouldn't change a thing. As many of you in the room are well aware, a career in community banking is a wonderfully fulfilling vocation, as it provides opportunities not only to help our customers achieve their own dreams, but to give back to the industry and to the communities we serve. Of course, it's not lost on me that the primary reason I'm up here tonight relates to the things that are on my bio. But to be fair, those speak more to the opportunities I've been afforded and the things I've had the privilege to do, as opposed to who I am, or more importantly, who I aspire to be. And I didn't know Kelly was going to say what she said, but that's what I've been thinking about too. And so I want to say, while it is nice to be recognized for career accomplishments and accolades, the reality is that when our careers are over, none of us will be remembered for any of those things, at least not for very long. What we will be remembered for, if at all, is who we were, and hopefully for the fact that we made a positive difference in the lives of those with whom we interacted throughout our careers. Personally, I wish to be remembered as a loving husband to my amazing wife, as a dutiful son to my parents, as a supportive brother to my 2 sisters, as a protector and a provider to my 5 children, of whom I'm so very proud. And though I fail at it daily, I wish to be remembered as an imitator and as a disciple of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I wish to be remembered as a loyal and faithful friend, as a principal and responsible steward to my fellow bank directors and coworkers, as a trusted advisor to my customers, as a servant leader within my community, and a fierce advocate for my industry. I'd like to specifically thank the guests who graciously agreed to join Kelly and me here this evening. A number of members of my incredibly supportive family are here, including my mother and my father, who was mentioned before, was himself honored with this recognition 12 years ago. Also here are several members of my bank board management team, including our bank president, Kevin Hood, who nominated me for this honor, as well as my 2 assistants, with whom I've had the pleasure to work for over 20 years, Gail Beeman and Karen Pepper. You all humble me by your presence here this evening, and I thank you. I have so many other wonderful champions in my career, including my dear friend and mentor, Michael O'Rourke. And Michael, I'm so proud to be sharing this stage with you tonight. Brad Tidwell, who epitomizes what it means to be a friendly competitor, and Christopher Williston, Chris Furlow, and Charles Cooper, all of whom, in addition to being cherished friends, are among the staunchest defenders of community banking whom I have ever known. There are many other colleagues I've befriended over the course of my career, many of whom are here tonight, and I can truly say that I wouldn't be standing here but for the inspiration, encouragement, and guidance that you have all generously provided to me as we shared our common pursuit of relentlessly promoting community banking. So as I conclude, I want to acknowledge that my career in community banking has indeed given me opportunities not only to do many of the things that I had hoped to do in life, but more importantly, it has enabled me to be the man that I've inspired to be in life. And for that, for this prestigious recognition and award, I'm eternally grateful. Thank you all very much.
Thank you and congratulations, Rogers. And thank you, Kelly. At this time, our next inductee is A. Ford Sasser III. And so I'm going to ask prior Texas Bankers Hall of Fame honoree and past CEO Chairman of Broadway Bank, Jim Gooch, to the podium.
Okay, you've got a Longhorn introducing an Aggie, so this may be a little bit different. It's truly an honor to introduce my good friend Ford Sasser. But before I do that, I would like to recognize the other inductees. Marilyn, Mark, Michael, and Rogers, all of you are extremely well-deserving bankers and great people, so congratulations on this honor. Ford and I have been friends
Ford and I have been friends since we were in junior school. We played sports together, hung around the same group of guys, and we actually still get together from time to time. When it came time to go to college, most of our group went to the University of Texas. Ford went to Texas A&M. That was no surprise because Ford's dad was an Aggie, and from a very young age, Ford was a devoted Aggie fan. At the time Ford went to A&M, it had become co-ed, but there were not a lot of girls there. So every once in a while, Ford would call his buddies at UT to see if we could get him a date and get him invited to a party. Getting invited to a party was not a problem. However, Ford was a proud member of the Aggie Corps of Cadets, which meant he had basically a shaved head. Ladies and gentlemen, this was in the 1970s. Everybody at UT, every guy at UT, even the most conservative guys, had longer hair. Trying to convince a girl to go out with a guy with a shaved head and that there wasn't something wrong with him was not easy. The good news, when we would convince them to go out, they usually had a good time. After Ford graduated from A&M, he joined the state banking department, where he was a bank examiner for several years. From there, he went to work for a bank in Beeville, where he met his wonderful wife, Abby. In the mid-'80s, they moved to the Rio Grande Valley, where Ford spent time working with several banks, including McAllen National Bank as president. In 1999, Ford and his business partner, Danny Vela, learned the Rio Bank in McAllen was experiencing some serious management and capital issues and decided to purchase an interest in the bank. Once they did that, Ford became the president and CEO. As is often the case when you get involved with a problem institution, you find out the issues were worse than you had originally thought, and Rio Bank was no exception. However, Ford is very smart, very tenacious, and with a lot of hard work, he and his team got the bank turned around. Rio Bank has gone from a $30 million undercapitalized bank with 25 employees in 2 locations to today a $1.4 billion bank, well-capitalized, with 270 employees and 24 locations in South Central Texas and the Hill Country. That's an amazing accomplishment. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Ford's business partner, Danny Vela, is a University of Texas graduate. Just saying. But Ford is not only a great banker, he's also a wonderful leader in our industry. Around 2010, he was elected to the Texas Bankers Association Board of Directors, and as typical for a natural leader like Ford, he rose through the ranks and became the chairman in 2023. During his tenure, he had many great accomplishments. However, the most important, in my opinion, was when he and Rio Bank and the Texas Bankers Association in 2023 sued the CFPB to repeal Section 1071, which required banks to collect a tremendous amount of unnecessary information from their business loan customers. That fight is not over, but so far, their estimates are estimated to have saved banks nationwide over $6 billion. That's unbelievable. We bankers owe a huge debt of gratitude to Ford, Rio Bank, and the TBA for having the courage to take this fight on. Ford is also very committed to being involved in the Rio Grande Valley community. He has been recognized and honored for his efforts on several occasions, and while time does not allow me to list all his involvements, I will mention one, and that's Camp University. CAMP stands for Can Achieve Maximum Potential, and was founded by Ford and Abby in 2007 to provide educational and life skills opportunities for young adults with special needs. It started fairly small, but today they have about 60 young adults in the program on a 2-acre campus in the center of McAllen. So there you have it, a great banker, an outstanding industry and community leader, but more importantly, he is a wonderful husband, father, brother, friend, and truly an outstanding person. Please welcome Ford Sasser.
Well, I'd like to start off by thanking my friend Jimmy Googe for the introduction. As Jimmy said, we've been friends since the 7th grade. So I've known Jimmy a long time, and his wife Suzanne grew up right down the street from me in San Antonio. So I've known Jimmy and his wife for a long time. I had the honor of introducing Jimmy several years ago when he was inducted into the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame. It was an honor for me to share that night with Jimmy, and I thank you both for being here. Also, I have many friends here tonight that have meant so much to me, but I want to personally thank my friend David Osborne and for sharing this night with me, along with his wife Cindy, and Chris Furlow with the Texas Bankers Association. I think those two gentlemen had something to do with me being here tonight. It was an honor to be recognized for the years I've spent in banking. I want to congratulate Mark and Michael and Roger and Marilyn, and I'm honored to share the stage with them tonight. And I'm honored to be part of the Hall of Fame that has recognized people like my friend Jimmy Googe. I saw that Mark and Michael went to school at Texas Tech. Roger and Marilyn went to school at Baylor. They're two great schools, almost as good as Texas A&M. But I will say Texas Tech and Baylor are significantly better than that school in Austin that Jimmy went to. I do want to thank my wife, Abby, and my daughters, Lauren and Amanda and Emily, for being here. My wife and I have been married 40. She'll tell me when I sit down. A banker needs a supportive family, and I sure have that. I love you girls. I also want to recognize some other folks that have made the trip with me. As Jimmy said, my good friend and partner, Danny Vela, and his wife, Alejandra, are here tonight. A couple of my board members, Annie Turner is here, Craig Lewis. I also want to thank our bank president, Brian Humphreys, for making the trip, our chief lending officer, Albert Guajardo, and our executive vice president, Tatiana Bravo. I thank you all for making the trip. It's a long ways from the valley up here. Sam Houston State's the first university to start a commercial banking program. Jim Bexley was a banker that I met when he was running a bank down in McAllen many years ago at a Texas Commerce Bank. I certainly admired him when he was a banker in McAllen, and he was a trailblazer for all the banking programs that we enjoy now in the state of Texas. What a great pipeline of bankers these programs have started for our industry. And I thank Jill for continuing that legacy. I chose to be a banker. At first it was because I thought that's where the money was. But I learned that banking was really, that's not really what banking was all about. I found out that it wasn't about the money. It was about serving others. To be a banker, you have to have a servant heart. I've said to many bankers that we are the luckiest people. We do everything from sponsor the Little League baseball team to make multi-million-dollar projects come together for the communities that we serve. Bankers are being a banker is one of the most honorable professions I can think of. And I stand in front of you today looking out over all the bankers here tonight, and I salute you for the service that you provide to the communities that you serve in our great state of Texas. I've enjoyed the title of banker. And during that time, the banking industry has gone through a lot of changes. When I started banking, as Jimmy said, I was a bank examiner working for the Texas Department of Banking. We had question in our examination reports back in those days, and the question was, is the bank on computer? And if so, what was on computer? Was it the general ledger? Was it loans, deposits? And in those days, every town had a bank, because this was before branch banking in our state. The word fintech hadn't been invented, neither had the fax machine, and handheld telephones were only in science fiction movies. We live in a fast world today, and bankers have adapted had adapted to those changes. And the community bank business model is still the grease of the wheels of our economic engine of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, you are what make entrepreneurs' dreams come true. You're the guardians of capitalism. We have something special in the United States. Community banks are not common in other countries. I'm convinced that that's the reason. It's because of community banks that our nation is economically superior to every other country in the world. The thing I love most about being a banker is being able to play a small part in the success of our customers. Whether I'm loaning money or just providing counsel to someone trying to start a new business, our customers need us. And because of that, I echo what my friend Wes Hoskins of Corpus Christi said many years ago at a TBA convention speech. I'm proud to be a banker. I thank you for tonight. I thank you for this honor. And God bless Texas, and God bless our banking system.
Thank you, Ford. Our final inductee tonight is Miss Marilyn Shedd. So will prior Texas Bank Hall of Famer, honoree, and Vice Chairman, First Financial Bankshares, Ron Butler, please join me on the podium. And my good friend.
Thank you, Jill. And I'm sorry about my voice. I didn't bring my cocktail up here. It's water. But I came in from West Texas today, and we don't have any pollen out there, and I guess you have it out here. But I'll do my best because I want to honor my dear friend. And on behalf of the First Financial family, it's my honor to introduce Marilyn Shedd. Marilyn's been on our team for 35 years, and we are thrilled that she'll be inducted into the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame. Marilyn is a valued team member, beloved in our bank and our community, and certainly a big part of our success at First Financial. Marilyn spent her early years in Mexico City, where her parents were church missionaries for several years before they settled in Abilene. She's a graduate of Abilene High School, where she was a cheerleader for the Fighting Eagles. Marilyn then went to Baylor, got her business degree. At work, she has put up with a lot of Red Raiders and Aggies, but she's always a good sport, and no matter if the Bears are winning or losing. Marilyn's married to Glenn, who has been very supportive of her career and has been an ambassador for First Financial for many years by attending receptions, banquets, galas, soirees, and other events, and so far has only taken pay in the form of cocktails. But I want to publicly thank Glenn for all of his support of Marilyn and the bank. So please give Glenn a hand. I'll let Marilyn introduce her daughters and son-in-laws, but they have a great family, and we love them dearly. Upon graduation from Baylor, Marilyn started her career as a credit analyst at another bank, became a commercial banker, and ultimately their senior credit officer. Then Scott Deeser convinced Marilyn to join our team in 1991, and she quickly made an impact by growing her loan portfolio by winning the trust of local business clients. Marilyn has many different types of clients, but she's always had a large following of physicians. If you ever need a doctor's appointment in Abilene, you need to call Marilyn, because when she calls the doctor's office, you go right to the top. Marilyn was promoted to president of our Abilene Bank in 2012, and she became the first woman to lead our flagship bank. She is an inspirational leader to all of us, but a special leader to the women in our company. When I'm asked for career advice from our ladies in our bank, I just tell them, just go be like Marilyn. And that would be a good path to follow. Under Marilyn's leadership, our Abilene region of First Financial has grown substantially, now with total assets of over $3.7 billion, that's with a B, and she's done a wonderful job. Of course, Marilyn is a consummate community banker serving on many boards in Abilene. She is currently on the Board of Trustees at Abilene Christian University and the Abilene Arts Alliance. She is a past chair of the Community Foundation of Abilene, served 9 years on the board of the Development Corporation of Abilene, which is our sales tax supported economic development organization. And she is has been a board member of many other nonprofit organizations. And I've even seen her in her carpenter clothes and hard hat on a Habitat for Humanity home, and no injuries, I don't believe. But I could go on and on about this wonderful lady, but I'll stop and introduce a great banker, a woman of great faith, a great friend, and now a great addition to the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame. Please welcome Marilyn Shipp.
Well, thank you so much. First, this is an enormous honor, and especially to share this stage with the other gentlemen, fellow honorees tonight. I admire each one of you for so many things. Ford, thank you for filing suit against the CFPB, for all of us. But I'm so honored and humbled, and secondly, I know that I'm the last honoree to speak, so I'm going to try to keep my remarks brief. But as I think back through the 40-plus years of my banking career, I also reflect on people that had a strong influence in my life. And I lost both my mother and my father fairly recently. And so as I enter into this chapter without either parent here on this earth, it makes me reflect about how they instilled so many values in my life. As Ron said, my parents were missionaries in Mexico City. They were educators. My dad became a minister. So financial resources were not necessarily plentiful, but they did teach us strong value of education, strong work ethic. So I guess that's why I got my first job when I was 14, hitched a ride with my sister that worked at the same restaurant with me. And but as I reflected about being a banker, Ron mentioned I started at a bank that had just failed. I was a credit analyst, but they had just failed, and Mercantile Bank at the time, which was in Dallas, purchased the bank. It was Abilene National Bank. And so got to go through foreclosures when I was in my 20s. It was a great place to start. I learned from a lot of other people's mistakes. But as we all know, being a banker is as many have said already tonight, it's more than just loans or deposits or reviewing financial statements. It is behind every single loan, every deposit, every company, there are individuals or families or companies full of employees that are depending on us to make the right decision for their financial future. So it's been such a privilege to be a banker. And again, bankers are the economic engine that keeps this country going. It's been a tremendous and amazing experience to work with great mentors in my career, starting with Mr. Ken Murphy. Mr. Murphy was CEO of First Financial Bank Shares for years, and Mr. Murphy couldn't be here tonight, but he was in the first class of the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame in 2013. And then following that, of course, Scott Deeser and Ron Butler, both of these men set the bar high for our company. They set the bar high for each of us that have had the honor of working with them. They encourage excellence with all of our employees because they display excellence themselves. And they are such good role models, not only as bankers, but as people and as just community members too. I cannot thank you both for the guidance that you've given me through the years and the patience and encouragement through the years. But you know, mentors don't always have to be older. Not that you're that much older. But I've had the honor of working with several younger folks that they've become mentors to me also. Starting with Luke Longhofer, Marshall Morris, Evan Harris, Patty Valero, Dayton Borger, Samantha Baker. Each of you have so much talent, and you're admired not just by me, but by your peers, and you know that. And to all of the other colleagues that took time out of your busy schedules to be here, that means so much to me. I know how busy all of you are, so thank you so much for being here tonight. We do have one of our directors, Chris DiMeliano, and his wife Emily, that are here. Chris got his master's degree from Sam Houston, and he lives here in Huntsville. So anyway, very glad to have you guys here tonight also. I think, you know, again, when we look at people that help us along the way, though, there is one person here from the bank that unquestionably helped me accomplish daily tasks and meet my goals and take care of customers. And that was my loan assistant for 12 years, Connie Dickinson. Connie, stand up. Connie retired at the end of the year, but she and I are still great friends, and she just, again, was an amazing assistant. Finally, I want to take a minute to acknowledge my family. We've got both our daughters here, our daughter Suzanne Bush and her husband Joseph from Dallas. And then we have our other daughter, Callie Rachel, and her husband, Stephen. They have lived in Dallas for the last several years. They have our only grandson, who's 20 months old, and one on the way. But they are moving to Abilene this weekend, like day after tomorrow. So we are so excited to have them come back to Abilene. But Callie and Suzanne, thank you for the many Saturdays and Sunday afternoons that you went to my office with me so I could work. So thanks for being great daughters of a banker mom. And finally, to my husband, Glenn, of almost 41 years, thank you for being my rock, for my encourager, for being a great dad to our girls. I mean, heck, Glenn could do ponytails and pigtails better than I could. He took them to school almost every day. So thank you, Glenn. This award really belongs to you just as much as it does to me. But I hope we never forget those that come before us, those that have laid foundations for us, whether it's parents, mentors. You know, we are all so privileged, and I hope we never forget that God, you know, makes each one of us for a distinct purpose. And for those of us that he chose to be bankers, what a privilege that is. So thank you very, very much.
Marilyn Shedd. So again, thank you so much for our inductees and congratulations. We salute and celebrate the lasting impact you have made and will continue to make on the banking industry. Your replica plaque has been placed on the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame wall display, proudly showcased outside our Texas Bankers Association banking room that we're so proud of in the College of Business Administration. It stands as a lasting tribute, ensuring your legacy is recognized and celebrated for years to come. So another round of applause. So as the final part of our program, I'd like to ask Dr. Steve Nenninger, our Smith-Hudson Endowed Professor of Banking and EMBA Academic Advisor, to the stage, and he's going to help me with presenting 2 sets of scholarships tonight, the first being the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame EMBA Scholarship. As I said earlier, we have an incredible executive MBA program, and after this, we're almost 200 graduates. We're super excited about that. The proceeds from tonight help us give a scholarship, and so we will begin with the first scholarship tonight for Natalie Sikowski-Gertz. She's the recipient of the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame $5,000 scholarship for tonight. Natalie serves as the Senior Vice President and Director of Treasury Management for Texas First Bank, and again will join our incoming 2026 cohort. Congratulations. Now, we have a second set of scholarships, and this is really cool stuff. All of this is. But for those of you that are not aware, at the same time our donor, the Smith-Hudson, was starting our banking program, they started a scholars program at the exact same time. So our scholar program is also celebrating 30 years. In an effort to expand their support of not only Sam Houston State, our College of Business Administration, and the Endowed Chair of Banking, this will be the 3rd year of scholarships that we have started from the Smith-Hudson that awards up to 5 a year at $40,000 per student, which is almost the full tuition. It's an amazing game changer for both our undergraduate and our graduate students. So I'm going to give you some numbers, and I want you to do, y'all are bankers, you can do the math. Including the May 2026 graduates in the next 2 weeks, undergraduate and graduate, the Smith-Hudson Scholarship Program will have graduated 1,287 undergraduate students with full ride scholarships. Full ride scholarships. Yeah, can we, yeah. That's 5 campuses that they support, not only Sam Houston State. We were the original, but Stephen F. Austin, Lamar Institute of Technology, and Angelina College, and now our 6 EMBA students here at SAM that will be that have already graduated. We have 9 that will be graduating in 2 weeks. With the addition of 268 new undergraduate students and 8 new EMBA students coming in, sponsored by Smith-Hudson, they will have, get this fall, 653 students enrolled at all of the campuses I mentioned, and 283 of those will be here at Sam Houston State University. So that is just an amazing accomplishment. Another awesome fact is their program boosts a completion rate at 80%. So 80% of those students come in as a freshman, they finish. And that is an amazing statistic if you're familiar with academics. So we're so proud of this program. So tonight, we actually are going to award 8 EMBA scholarships. So if you will come up as I call your name, and let us recognize you. So our first recipient is a second-year student, Vice President and Private Banker at Broadway Bank, Ms. Gina Anderson. Our next recipient is Javius Brooks, who is a previous undergraduate Smith-Hudson Scholar. Javius? Victoria Castillo, Portfolio Manager from Wood Forest National Bank. Our next recipient is Adriana Chavez, Vice President, Deposits and Branch Operation Manager for Houston Bank and Trust. And Adriana is one of our second-year students. Our next recipient could not be here tonight, but is Cassidy Hyatt, who's AVP Business Banking Relationship Manager at Amegy Bank. Our next recipient is Samantha Mullen, Senior Vice President, Risk Management at Horizon Bank. Our next recipient is Kevin Perez Vanilla, AVP, Senior Branch Manager at First National Bank, Texas. Next, we have Christopher Valdez, AVP and Commercial Banker at Broadway Bank. And if you will all come back up so we can get one more picture. Congratulations to each of you. Super fun. And congratulations as you embark on this special journey in your careers, and congratulations to our two second-year students that will actually have these scholarships this next year. So in closing, as we close tonight, I want to again congratulate all of our honorees and our sponsors and all of our families and friends that were here tonight. Thank you so much for helping us celebrate our excellence in banking and our 30 years of remarkable success and proven outcomes. And thank you so much for celebrating all these iconic bankers that, again, are the heartbeat of our communities and have given a life of service to the most wonderful profession that we can all think of. I'm just so proud of our students that are going to be following in your footsteps, and you set such a high bar and such a role model for them to be here and witness these wonderful tribute to all that you've accomplished, not just our honorees, but everybody in this room. That's why it's so hard to get y'all in here and seated by 7 o'clock, because everybody knows each other, and it's just such a great occasion. And I know a lot of you have traveled very far from being here, and so we really appreciate you. We appreciate all the support that you give us throughout the year. And this really will conclude our program. I'm going to ask the honorees, former honorees, and existing honorees to please come up so we can get a group picture. And the new honorees, bring back your plaques. And if you'll come to the front of the stage. And I again want to just thank you again and say safe travels and good evening. And it's been such a pleasure to have you on campus here at Sam Houston State University. So thank you so much.